previous video we have covered versioning and publishing. There I forgot to tell one thing, that if we have any fourth file that we are providing over here, so it should have this export path for this folder, but we have one property called files, which accepts an array, and inside this whatever we pass, only that things goes to the publishing. So src means the second and third file, so whatever inside src it will goes, index.js it will goes, but for fourth.js I have not put it in files, so it will give a reference, I can import it, but the file is not there in actual publish version, it will not be there. So whenever we try to import any method, that this hey method, it won't work, it will give an error that we do not have the fourth file present. So that's one point, that we can have which all files should go. But now currently what we are doing is we are packaging our whole src folder. Inside this, if we have anything that is not exported or any file that is not important or anything, it is giving a source folder, but this is not a good habit. We should have an built with the minimal file, minimal changes, minimal code, so that our library will be have minimized size and all the functionality. It should not contain any comments, it should not contain any unreachable code. So for that, npm is just in package manager, it won't help. We need a building tool. Currently we have like Vite, Rollup, and many other web bundle 5, these kinds of package, these kind of bundler. But currently the most famous is Vite, as its new version is using roll down in version 8, and it is built on top of Rust, which is 20 times faster than any other bundler. What these bundler does is it will take all of our code based on the config we set and build a separate folder, dist or whatever we set, and create only those files that are actually accessible, that are actually needed, and inside that as well only the code that is actually reachable. It will remove any other thing that is present on those file, and it will create a minimized version of it, because it gives so much functionality, it reduces so much of our size, and it reference to a complete different package, so it doesn't affect our actual project. So to have it a bundler, we have to first install it. So we can have a Vite as in dev dependency. Now you can see in package.json we have one dev dependency of Vite. Now if I simply, I can write a script for it, but I can use it both the way. I can either hit npx Vite build, or I can write a script over here for build, let's say build, it will use Vite build. Basically this npx command lets us use directly these commands that are not present, but we can use it this way as well. So anyways works, we can have it over here and we can have it over here, but currently we do not have any Vite config defined. It's okay, we can directly run the build, but then it will expect an index.html at the root, the default configuration, because Vite by default expect this application uh, to be as an application, not as a library. We have built as a library, but by default Vite configuration expect it as an application. So it expects an HTML file which is not present, and it will fail. So let me run and show you how it fails. So it got failed, and let's see what's the error. Cannot resolve entry module index.html. Its default configuration is trying to look for this and it is not present in the root, so it failed simply. So what we can do is we can have a vite config file, vite.config.js file. Inside this we can import one package called define config. That comes from just installed library vite. Although we can create this file without this, but this will help us with this intelligence. So we have to export default define config. Now inside this it will take an argument, and now I have to change its build. I want to change its build to lib. Now for lib I want to provide few properties. One is the entry point. Entry point I have to give index.js. Now it won't look for HTML file, it will look for index.js file. Although we can provide multiple entries over here, that we will do in the next step, but let's have a basic entry point and few more properties over here. One is the name, correct, name. What do we want to call it? Let's call it index only. Apart from that, we want sorry, this is file name, not name. Correct, file name. But what do we want as in third property? Formats, correct. By default, it will generate an ES module and a CGS module both. But if we want just the ES module, we can just pass ES over here. One more property I'm forgetting. Build, define, config, entry, file name, format, lib. Not sure. So in define configuration, we have this lib. We have added our configuration. We have added one name, file name, formats, and entry points. In file name, we have added function so that it will have a different name for every file instead of keeping index only. We have entry points. All the entry points will be as it is there in the dist folder. But in package.json, it still follows our old files, exports. So I have pointed main to the dist index folder, exports to the dist. So it will now be actually importing this. But now our files is still pointing to this. But it should point to dist now. Only we want this dist folder to be packaged and shipped. Rest everything can remain here. So now let's release a version and see what will happen. So it will bump to our next 5 release, all these changes, and now I can publish it to next. Let's check the versions. So we have the next five. Now let's see the code. Now we only have our dist folder instead of having all application, and inside this also the minified version of it, as minified as possible. And now if we install the next version again, sorry, not here, in here, consumer, if we go and add this next, we can see a new version is added. And now if I try to run this, I have all the changes in my node folders. Now it just have a dist with these files, nothing else. So